Hey, you. Welcome to Bonehead. So,
are we recording? Are we recording?
Yeah, we're recording.
Yet? You recording? Is this on?
Yeah.
Are you sure you're recording?
I just want to apologize to you because my kid got a 2-hour power nap about 3 hours ago as we're recording this, and he's going to be coming out guns blazing up above us. So there you just so you know.
I heard it.
Did you hear him now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I hear him. Yeah. He's having a good time. It turns out the Paw Patrol are stopping that dinosaur from attacking the Lookout Tower. Yeah, he's living his best life. Yeah. So we're doing animal movies.
Yeah. And it was kind of a combination.
Going strong, people.
And it was kind of a we were going to do pet movies, and then we're like, do we dog movies? And then we're just like, oh, we'll just do animal movies, even though every single one of mine involves a pet.
But we talked talking animal movies for Bonehead Weekly Fun Size.
Yeah. And then I think that's where we put this on our list of going, we could talk about this for hours. And it turns out we might struggle a little bit.
Well, and listen, folks, we have given you multiple. I mean, this is episode 183. At this point, you know what you're getting into.
Yeah, we're just grabbing at straws here, folks.
Grabbing at straws, trying to hit that magic 200 so we can all walk away and eat a bullet or whatever it is you all want to do. I don't know what your exit strategy is.
I mean, I hadn't thought about it, but now that you mentioned it, what flavor is the bullet?
Delicious caramel. Lead caramel.
Is it a lead caramello?
It's a lead caramello.
Oh, so it's liquid.
I smell good smoke. I don't know. But okay, so Chad, you're like Old Yeller. He's a good dog yeller. He's the best doggone dog in the fucking West.
So just so you know, before Joe hit record,
pretty sure that's who wrote that for Disney?
I don't.
Is that a Disney picture?
James, look it up while I set it up.
It's a novel.
Two brothers.
Joe.
Yeah,
it's
no. So
novel.
Right before Joe hit record,
not when I watched it.
Yeah, I never read it.
I never read it.
God.
But James mentioned right before Joe hit record, are we going to talk about Old Yeller? And that's where I freely admit that I hate Old Yeller. I have never cared for it. I think it is just absolute garbage. I don't care.
It's got Gregory Peck.
At the very end.
No, I guess it doesn't, does it?
I was going to say,
what am I thinking about that has Gregory Peck with a kid?
The Omen?
No.
Yep.
That does have a dog, though.
The famous pet movie, The Omen.
By the way, it does have some dogs in it.
In defense of Old Yeller, it does have Tommy Kirk.
Which one's that? Is that the guy who comes up and like eats all the food? I don't know who that is.
Oh, the big guy. Yeah, that's it. Little boys do know when it's time to eat.
Yes, ma'am.
Holy shit. Look it up. I think that's actually the line.
I think that is
by the way,
line.
Old Yeller, for those that don't know and want to actually read the book, is
don't watch it. It's slow.
Well, it was written by Fred Gibson. That's not Gibson. It's Gipson. Gibson. He did not die until 1973. So
he outlived Old Yeller.
He did outlive Old Yeller. He also was known for writing just evidently a couple different types of books about dogs, including his 1947 work, Hound Dog Man. So there you go. So just FYI, there is the Old Yeller was his award winning. It won the Newbery.
That book won the Newbery?
Yes, and it has 2 sequels.
Oh my God.
I'm thinking, why haven't they made these sequels? Because if you've read the novel, and I'll be honest, I haven't seen the movie in a long time. Does the movie end with him finding out Old Yeller had puppies?
Yes. He actually has one. He has the puppy in his hands.
He has one of the. Well, he gets his friend is the one owns the dog that the puppies came from.
Yeah, the love interest who's not really a love interest in the movie. Yeah.
Old Yeller does have 2 sequels as a novel. Savage Sam.
Was it one of the puppies, or did the shark come back to Jamaica to get revenge on the family that killed the shark?
The story of the son of Old Yeller.
Oh, Savage Sam.
It remains set in Texas.
Is he still an egg sucker? Because Old Yeller was an egg sucker.
Don't
Google it. Old Yeller sucked eggs. Well, and you did not want to be from all I have learned from Wagon Train, you did not want to be a dog who sucked eggs in the Old West.
Well, here's the plot to Savage Sam. So if you're thinking I need to cash it on a Disney movie, maybe you're going to try to pitch them something for Disney Plus. You can pitch them Savage Sam. Here's the plot. He's Old Yeller's son. He is a blue tick coonhound. He's every bit as courageous as his father because that's genetic. But it would be harder to adapt now because the plot is that Travis and Arliss Coates and Elizabeth Searcy are all taken captive by the Apache and Comanche. And the father teams up with some neighboring men to go searching for them. And the dog somehow helps because he has a keen sense of smell and can track them. So that is the first sequel. So that came out in 1962. And I know what you're thinking. Well, he followed that up after the movie came out, and he sure did. How long would it take him to make this a trilogy? Well, good news. It only took him till 1978. And by the way, it was.
Why was there a pause on 78?
Well, if you listened to me earlier, when did he die, Joe?
I'm sorry. You've been talking for years.
He died in 1972.
Holy cow.
Little Arliss was cobbled together from his papers. And it actually is the story of it's connected to Old Yeller, but it's actually the story of Arliss Coates, who is 12 years old. His older brother, it's Arliss Coates is male, sorry. His older brother is Travis, who was in the original Old Yeller. So it's the ongoing story of the family, and there's horses involved and whatnot. But there you go. So just if you didn't know it, if you're going to talk about Old Yeller, I want to give credit to the person who actually wrote it, which was not Walt Disney. Give credit to the original
now let's get back to why Chad's shitting on it. What's wrong with Old Yeller? I mean, it's a Disney movie, but you got to give him credit. They stuck to the end and shot Old Yeller.
I'll give him that. It was, especially for that time.
They murdered him.
They murdered him in his face.
In his face. They shot him in his face hole.
I just always had a whole problem with it. It was way over dramatic than what it needed to be. It was one of those typical Disney.
You ever seen Marley and Me?
I
haven't either, by the way.
I have.
James tells me that when they kill Marley at the end, when they hire an assassin, because that's what you do.
That would have been a better movie.
You hire a vet assassin.
It would have been better if Owen Wilson and Jennifer Aniston walked into an office and Antonio Banderas was there. Or what's his name from No Country for Old Men?
No. I want
Javier Bardem.
Yeah,
that's a good one. And he has the tank.
Bardem, and I literally just want him to say, "I will do this for you."
Or he looks at Marley and flips a quarter and says, "Pick."
How much have you ever risked on a bowl of puppy chow?
All right. So Old Yeller is a faithful adaptation. I have no idea. I've never read the book. Yeah. I haven't seen it in years. That's one I enjoyed as a kid. And by the way, when I was thinking about Gregory Peck, I had to Google it. It's The Yearling, which is about a damned deer.
Oh, it's a deer. Not even close to Old Yeller.
Well, they kind of. Oh, you're giving me not close to Old Yeller? He said a deer was a horse. When was the last time you rode a deer? Oddly enough, 3 weeks ago.
I don't know things.
The Yearling. It was a deer. And where the Redford grows. Did either one of you all watch that?
I think I watched Shiloh, but I did not watch Redfern Grows.
Now, one of the dogs makes it out of that, though, right? Do I remember that correctly?
Well, yeah, but he's got to go back for the sequel to find the people who killed. I don't actually remember where the Redfern Grows is. And thinking back on it, I doubt that I'd enjoy it now.
It's on, and the sequel's available too, right? Where the Redfern Grows too.
So let's go ahead and get started because there's one I want to talk about, and I normally don't do this. But now there's a movie that my partner, my wife, loves, and I'm going to talk about it now. It's something that she watches if she's in a down spot. It cheers her up. I'm about to ruin it for her.
Hellraiser.
And yeah, basically. No, Hellraiser is a little upbeat. The reason it's upbeat is, well, at least there's an afterlife.
That's true.
Anyway, sorry.
You just rot in the ground.
You just rot in the ground.
By the way, I know we've left Old Yeller behind, but I do want to give credit. One of my favorite Family Guys of all time. Old Yeller, you get that message for me? Oh, yeah. I accidentally deleted that.
So there was a Japanese film that was later re-released in the States with an American version called The Adventures of Milo and Otis. And they cut the film from the original Japanese version down to what we would call an Americanized version, which they took a lot of the peril, some of the more hurt things, some of that. They added the wonderful Dudley Moore's voice narration over it. And it was a big hit in '89. Okay, this is where I want you. I never say this, but if you love Milo and Otis, this is where you should turn this off.
Just jump ahead until you see.
I will spend the next 4 minutes about it, but I am completely serious. I don't know, after researching this, that I ever want to watch Milo and Otis again. Okay, and this is a magical film for several people I've met over my life. I am warning you for the last time. Just skip ahead 5 minutes. Okay. You've been warned. Guys, it seems that the Japanese don't necessarily have all the safety precautions set for filmmaking.
Right. I've heard, keep going. Yeah, because I've heard all of these stories. And
yeah, have you heard them all about Milo and Otis?
Maybe not all of them, but I know. So, for example, I had a friend who, they were twins, not my brothers, another set of twins, who loved this movie as well. They watched it frequently. And I knew some of the history about it. And I told them about the history, and they have hated me ever since. They can't watch the movie anymore.
I'm about to tell you all, I'm serious. If you haven't turned it off and you love Milo and Otis, and I get it. I don't want to know. There's certain things that I like as a whole, as a movie, that I won't watch again. Like Cannibal Holocaust. I've even met the director. I just won't watch the shit again. It's actually a well-made movie, but there's animal abuse in it. I just won't watch it. Okay. When the kitten goes off the 100-foot cliff, that was a real kitten. Mm-hmm. So we're going to go through how many dogs and cats died in Milo and Otis. They actually fed Otis to that bear. That he fights the bear, they fed him to that bear. That dog didn't make it. Here's the death count. They drowned 5 cats.
Yep.
4 of the more cats were mauled. 2 cats got pecked to death. 1 cat swallowed whole by a snake. 3 drowned dogs, 2 mauled dogs, and 1 popsicle. Now, do you know at the first of the movie, the little kitten, Milo or whatever, one of the kittens, it's trying to get its legs and it's walking funny? You know,
that's what I was waiting for you to bring up. I was going to make sure you brought that up because that's mine that always gets me.
Did you? Oh, so you knew about all this?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't know about any of this shit.
I knew about the drownings. I didn't know about them throwing the cat off the cliff.
Chad, I'm not done.
I'm not done. I didn't know about the snake.
I'm not done. You know how they got that wonderful effect of him not being able to walk? They broke his damn paw, Chad.
Oh my
God. The kitten
God.
was intentionally to make it look like it was unsteady.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Think about that.
I don't want to.
What kind of jacked up freak does that to a kitten?
He hires somebody else who's jacked up to do it.
I get it. By the way, though, it has nothing on Ben-Hur.
Ben-Hur, they killed over 100 horses.
Yeah. Over 100 horses were killed.
And they never bothered to call a vet to see if they could fix the horses. It was, it's limping, shoot it.
And honestly, that was the Snow Buddies excuse too. Milo and Otis was worse. And by the way, if you don't know what Snow Buddies is, look up the movie Snow Buddies and see how many of those dogs died.
Really? During the making of it?
Oh yeah.
Intentionally?
It was a disease of some sort.
Oh, well, that's different.
Oh no, it could have. You read into it, it could have been avoided. They could have saved those dogs. They said no, we're shooting this movie.
Well, I mean, it is Snow Buddies. I mean, it's not like they don't have 10 Oscars, not the 11 that Ben-Hur got for the killing 100 horses. 100. But yeah, the kitten breaking the paw. So I'm going to end all that there. and I'm not going to say any more because until I knew this, I'm glad neither one of you have told me this. Christy, you can start listening again.
Yeah.
Boy, didn't you love Milo and Otis? Those scenes sure did look realistic. They sure did look like they were in peril.
I can hold on. Let me move to Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I can handle a little bit of peril. No, you can't. It's much too perilous.
All right, who's up?
So, all right, I'm going to switch because I want to start this with a question because this is something we've never talked about. So, there have been movies where
I know it's confusing, but babies come out of vaginas.
Really?
No.
Okay. Don't ever scare me like that because I've done years of study.
It's like, Chad, it's like watching your favorite pub burn down.
Oh, well, yeah. I watched the Cabbage Patch Kids Christmas special repeatedly to study up on this. So don't do that to me, okay?
Got it.
Right, I was created in a lab. I had a womb with a view.
There's been plenty of movies. Oh my God.
It was written in a womb with a view. It was, oh God, I have a joke. Go ahead.
No, but funny. there's been plenty of times.
A machine like the Incredible Hulk. Go ahead.
There's been plenty of times in history where two movies have came out the same year that pretty much cover the same topic. So the biggest example, Armageddon, Deep Impact. We could do a whole list of these types of movies.
I just did this for Scarefest. Underwater horror films or creature features. Leviathan, Deep Star 6, and The Abyss.
All came out the same year, right?
All came out in 89 within about 8 months of one another.
Funny that you mentioned 89 because the two movies I'm going to talk about came out in 89. So I want your opinions.
I know exactly what they are.
K-9 or Turner and Hooch?
Okay, so I actually watched both of these in the theater.
Okay. Is it hard for you?
Yeah, well, here Turner and Hooch is a better movie. It has Tom Hanks. But I enjoyed K-9 when I was a kid.
Okay.
I haven't seen it in a long time. I've seen Turner and Hooch since I've seen K-9.
What about you, James? Did you have a preference?
Hold on. I'm double checking something because I've got to make sure I have my year right.
I didn't realize you're thinking of Top Dog,
they both came out. If you're thinking of Top Dog, that came out in 1995.
Now, I was thinking
Chuck Norris always being late.
Yeah. I was going to jump forward 2 years because I prefer a later film, 1991's Bingo.
Yeah, which came out the same year as?
Because they also had another dog movie that competed.
Do you know what it is?
I'm blanking on it.
Beethoven.
That's right. And I saw both of those because of my younger sister, and I preferred Bingo over Beethoven.
Hold on. You preferred Bingo? Well, wait, that's not even in part of this question because it's about a runaway circus dog who befriends a young boy. I'm talking about buddy cop
movies.
I'm talking about buddy cop dog movies.
Well, I mean,
two.
Which one do you prefer, Chad?
Oh, me, I'm K-9 100%.
How are you K-9?
I watched K-9 repeatedly when I was a kid.
Oh,
I loved it.
I always loved that he rented the car just to crash into the place at the first of the movie.
Exactly.
Even in 89, I was 11 years old. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Total disregard. And it has Ed O'Neill.
I completely agree with you that Turner and Hooch is a higher quality film.
It's a better movie.
But K-9 is so much more entertaining for me.
I haven't seen either of those festering piles of dog snot in so long. I can't comment.
Oh, shut your horse mouth. They're
well
both
now
great.
at least Turner and Hooch killed off Hooch.
At least they could, and they did have the cop out of K-9 did get shot.
Yeah,
but he took him into a hospital, and spoilers. It's on Netflix, by the way, people. If you'd like,
is it? I'm not going to watch it, but thank you.
Are there more K-9 movies?
Oh, dude, there's K-9.
I bet Glenn has watched all that shit.
Oh yeah, he's watched K-9.
Oh my God, he has masturbated to the sequels to K-9. That's right up his alley.
There's at least two sequels, and they kind of follow the Lethal Weapon series because the last one is about they're both old and they're both the dog and Jim Belushi.
Is Jim Belushi in all of them?
He's in every single one, Joe.
Okay. Do you know the original dog's? His name was Jerry Lee, right?
In the movie, yes.
Oh shoot! I actually knew his name and I forgot it.
It is Rando.
Rando.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Shit. Oh yeah, Joe. There's K911 and K9PI.
All right.
all of which are on Netflix.
I had a friend in grade school, and I was obsessed with movies even when I was 11. And I had found out that Jerry Lee's real name was blah because I got to
Rando.
watch Rando. And before E, it was something else. E Entertainment Network, it was called something else. And they did a special, and he had his real name on it. And I told the kid at school, and he goes, "That's not his real name. His real name's Jerry Lee." And I said, "No, it's the other thing." And he goes, "The poster said Jerry Lee is himself."
Oy.
This is an argument that an 11-year-old argued, and it stuck in my brain. And I was right.
Yeah. But yeah,
I would kick him in his 11-year-old penis.
There's just something.
Balls. I meant to say balls. Penis balls.
I don't know.
I think either one of those makes it better, Joe.
He's a doctor now.
Hopefully not a doctor of music history.
Oh, well.
But no, I really preferred K9 because it was more slapstick to me.
Have you watched? Yeah, it is more slapstick. I actually watched K9 a couple of weeks ago. It was on, like I said, it's on Netflix, and I decided to give it a watch because I had not watched it since I was a teenager. And
it may be nostalgia for me, but I really loved it.
I honestly like Turner and Hooch. If it's on, I'll watch a few minutes of it.
As will I.
K9's never on if you're flipping it through the channels.
And I didn't realize it was directed by Rod Daniel, the guy who directed Teen Wolf and Beethoven. He also, oddly enough, directed a Beethoven movie.
Yeah,
but
we all
Beethoven
did.
second. But yeah, it was the Jim Belushi's interactions with Jerry Lee. I'm gonna call him Jerry Lee instead of Rando because I don't like the name Rando. He fights him on the ground. There's a great gag scene with them and jelly donuts. I mean, it's just everything. And then Turner and Hooch is way too serious for me. I don't know. It's just.
But it has Craig T. Nelson as the villain. Spoiler alert.
This one has Kevin Tighe as the villain, and also has Pruitt Taylor Vince in the epic scene in the pool hall with the pool ball.
It's been a long time, man.
Oh my God. And then also I'm looking up the names briefly. For about 2 minutes total, you get to see a very young William Sadler.
Oh, yeah, Bill Sadler.
He plays a car salesman.
He has also said no to the show.
Yeah. I did not know you asked. In all
fairness, if we stack up everybody that says no.
If I told you all how many times I reached this, James was talking the other day about his, and I said, no, I got that beat.
Yeah.
By the way, the new trend, and I don't know if I should say this on air, but I'm going to. The new trend that I'm getting is, I didn't do podcasts for a while, and then I said I'd do them, and now I've done about 10 of them, and I want a break.
Yeah, I got that from Mark Pellington this week. My answer back from Mark Pellington was, I got to take a break from podcasts.
Yeah.
Arlington Road is going to series, and I think he's got something to do with that. So,
I mean, one does. By the way, if somebody offered me money, I'd probably take it. So, and we don't offer money.
Shit, James, thank you. If you offered me $100 bill and said, "Here's this $100,"
I'm just saying,
would take the $100.
Yeah, well, I mean, given the option between making money,
between not taking the money,
and then not making money by doing our show, because I don't know if people out in listener world know this, but we don't pay people. We don't make anything.
We've never paid anybody. We
lose money.
Yep.
All right. So I'm done. So just to recap, both Joe and I like K9 over Turner and Hooch.
I don't know that I like it over Turner and Hooch.
You like it better than Turner and Hooch. Just go with me. And James gives a non-answer.
It was not a non-answer. I prefer Bingo. I don't care that you put the year restriction on it. I don't care that you put the cop dog restriction. Bingo could have been a cop dog. He could do math. He could play pinball, Chad. Does any of your dogs play pinball? Can they shoot a gun?
The specific question, even though I didn't word it that way, but I'm sure any listener, all 30 of them who listen to us, which buddy cop dog movie do you prefer? And James says Bingo.
Bingo.
Well, I have been fighting not to say was his name-o for 5 minutes. For 5 minutes, it's like
Bingo.
Hair. What is it? Something in a haircut. 2 bits.
I was going to do it, but I was so mad by James's answer, I did not do it. I'm like, no, I'm not giving him the satisfaction.
Bingo, sir.
I will give him that Bingo. Bingo does have Kurt Fuller in it.
It also has
the only man who could deliver the line "jock ass" and make it awesome.
It also has Susie Plaxton,
who also had a big year in '89. But we've already talked about on the show that 1989 is the center of all film.
Susie Plaxton? Oh, yeah, Susie Plaxton.
All right, James.
You go, man.
What's your stealing pile of rat turds animal movie?
Yeah, I'm going to bring up one that my kids love, and so I've seen several times, and I appreciate it for what it is, and no animals were harmed in the making of it. I refer to, of course, The Secret Life of Pets.
Okay, I've never seen the first one, but my son is because the second one is on Netflix. Yeah. He watches it once a week, and it's actually, I don't know how the first one is, but the second one's not bad.
I mean, if you like,
I enjoyed the first one.
If you like,
I've never seen it. I've just seen the second one.
I saw both of them in theaters. That theaters, by the way, were where people used to be able to go. Yeah. But I saw both of them in theaters with my children.
Time out. Joe asked me which one do I prefer, the first or the second one?
Which one do you prefer? I knew where this was going.
Okay, good. That's a good answer.
Shave and a haircut. 2 bits.
No. So
all
anyway,
right. No, I do not prefer Ants over A Bug's Life.
I don't either.
Secret Life of Pets. Ants has a couple of lines I love though. But anyway.
No, you would reply. You would reply. Fuck it.
I've been trying to, but
that would be his reply. Fuck it.
Secret Life
sounds like
Pets.
James to me.
James would have replied, "I like Dr. Zhivago." There, I said it.
I thought he was going to Seuss.
But no. Secret Life of Pets, Joe. If you like the second one, you'll like the first one.
I mean,
ignore
James,
the fact that ignore the fact that the dog's voice mysteriously changes, and don't ask any questions why that voice change happens. But other than that, I actually kind of prefer Patton Oswalt.
Oh, Patton Oswalt isn't the voice in the first one. Who's the voice?
No, Louis C.K. is.
No, it's I don't
Louis
know. Nothing happened. Nothing happened, Joe.
Oh
don't mention.
Man, what happened to Louis?
Nothing happened. I don't know
is Lucky Louie still on HBO?
Anyway,
it's on HBO Max.
He's back to performing sold out shows. So
he's a funny dude.
That being said, Secret Life of Pets. The first movie actually has a little bit of heart. One of the things that they wanted to add, because originally when it was pitched, it was just going to look at what do these pets do when their owners are away, and it was going to be more or less a series of skits, if you will. But then they wanted it to actually have some commentary. So the first movie, and it's alluded to in the second movie, though it's not as much of a plot, obviously, is the flushed away pets. These pets that people wanted for a while and then realized they were high maintenance and they got rid of them, and they hate humans because they were never wanted. And so that first part in the movie, they added that because they wanted it to have a little bit of commentary about what all that means. So Secret Life of Pets, I mean, they've got heart to them. And no, Joe, I agree with you. They're not the Citizen Kane, but they are entertaining films.
I actually
agree with you.
I like I said, the second one. Listen, if he picks that or the Emoji Movie, I'm picking The Secret Life of Pets too.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, the Emoji Movie.
And thank God, by the way, he only watched like 30 minutes of it. Has never asked for any of that ever again.
Yeah,
same with my kids.
That's a rough sell.
Yeah. But no, I really, and Secret Life of Pets. Granted, I am a fan of his, but Secret Life of Pets is actually what made me look more into Kevin Hart. I just liked his performance in it. So, I agree with you. That's a great one to add to the list. Everything about it. I will say this about Patton Oswalt, in terms of the performances. I liked him in the second one because he has more range. It just seemed like Louis C.K. was reading the script. He wasn't really delivering anything to that movie other than just reading the lines.
The only thing off-putting about Patton Oswalt, and I did not know that they replaced him, is that he will always be Remy to me. And it's probably slightly unfortunate, but I mean, he's in Remy and Ratatouille, and I always hear his voice and I think of Remy. Plus my kid loves Ratatouille. So, All right, I'm up next.
Go for it.
It took me a second because there was, for example, we were talking about all of these. I would love to talk about, but I've already talked about them. Like I'd like to talk about Babe or Homeward Bound, The Incredible Journey, but we've already talked about them on the show. This one we haven't really talked about, and it's my favorite Christopher Guest film, Best in Show.
Good film. Yeah.
If you've never seen Best in Show, Christopher Guest makes these movies, usually written with Eugene Levy, where they have a basic structure and the rest of the movie's improvised. The dialogue, the interactions, they're always usually, well, Fred Willard's now passed, but it's got Catherine O'Hara, Fred Willard, Eugene Levy.
And they're usually shot in a documentary style.
They're shot in documentary style. Some of them are very good. Bob Balaban, Michael McCann. I was trying to look and see who I was missing. But my favorite of all of those, I don't know about you all gentlemen, is Best in Show.
Same here.
Christopher Guest actually gives what I consider a damn near an Academy Award winning performance in that film.
I agree.
He is another human being in that movie.
I agree with you. I think a lot of people talk about Waiting for Guffman.
And that's fun, especially if you know anything about theater.
Yeah, it's fun. But in terms of
community theater,
in terms of the performances and the comedy, I really prefer Best in Show.
Well, Best in Show has a hell of a heart to it. Like there's The Mighty Wind. I enjoy it. The music's good, but it doesn't, there's a Best in Show. And you start rooting for some of these people.
Yeah.
You're rooting for Eugene Levy and his 2 left feet, right? Doesn't he have 2 left feet in that film for some?
See, I was actually, and it's kind of funny you say that because I was actually rooting for Christopher Guest in that movie.
You root for all of them.
The only one I wasn't rooting for is help me with her name. Oh my God, The House of Yes.
Parker Posey.
Parker Posey. Yeah.
Parker Posey. I'm so sorry. That's who I left out of this. Parker Posey. Yeah. Always good. So Christopher Guest is probably one of the best character actors God ever created. However, I have seen him interviewed, and I'm pretty sure I wouldn't want to spend an hour with him in a room and talk to him.
Yeah.
Although I would interview him at please, Christopher, come on the show and prove me wrong. But Best in Show is about these weird ass folks who go to dog shows with their dogs, right? That's what it's about. And that's as simple as that. And I enjoy the hell out of it. If it's ever on, I always watch it. Best in Show is one of my favorite animal films. And I don't think it's not a downer. It's not sarcastic like some of the other ones. I mean, there is, but there's a lot of heart to it. Don't you guys think? It's a kind of an upbeat film.
It is. I mean, for example, other than Parker Posey and what is it? Michael Hitchcock? Is that his name?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Michael Hitchcock, their characters, whatever happens to them, what ends up happening to them, I'm okay with. But John Michael Higgins and Michael McKean's characters, Christopher Guest, I root for all of them in that movie.
Yeah.
And now, granted, I really did when I was watching the movie. It was kind of like, even though I don't watch dog shows, you do develop your favorite character. You're like, oh man, I hope they win. And I think that was one of the most awesome aspects of the film is you kind of get dug into it. Like you forget that these are actors. And by the way, one thing Joe didn't mention is it's mostly ad lib too, which is amazing.
That's actually what I said at first. These movies are.
I'm sorry.
They don't have a script. They have a structure.
Outline.
They have an outline. Yeah.
They have an outline. Sorry, I didn't hear you say ad lib.
That's okay, James. Now I know what it feels like to be you, buddy.
Y'all talking?
Oh my God.
That was the perfect response to that, by the way.
Is that I was muting y'all. I was doing something else. Is that okay? Is this on? Are we still doing this?
Well,
is Mario on?
I mean, my Milo and Otis story is pretty sad. So I thought I'd come. No. I don't think anybody was harmed during the shooting of Best in Show.
Yeah, I don't think so. I guess it's me. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this same thing for this next one where I put 2 and 2 together and ask your opinion on which one you prefer. Not the same year, granted. So don't anybody get in a tizzy. But Seabiscuit or the other award-winning horse racing movie that everybody's aware of, Hot to Trot.
I actually really like Seabiscuit.
I'm gonna have to say Seabiscuit.
I should have said Secretariat.
Nobody.
I've never seen Secretariat.
Seabiscuit actually is a story that has some weight to it because if you read in the history and if you read the book, once again, it was a book. You should read the book. The book I
can't read.
The book actually goes into detail about how, and the movie alludes to it, but none of that should have worked.
Yeah.
None of it made sense. Nobody that was involved with Seabiscuit, including Seabiscuit itself, accomplished anything else in their entire life after that moment. Like the jockey that was too big, played by Tobey Maguire, who was blind in one eye and all of that stuff. That was his crowning moment. that was it. He went on to live. He went on to do stuff.
Well, he didn't live forever.
No, he's dead now. I mean, spoiler. But turns out you can't live to be 180. But anyway, well, most people can. But yeah. The
James,
what?
Nothing. I was just wanting you to finish.
Yeah.
Because
I was going to talk about Hot to Trot.
Well, I do want to say
Seabiscuit is an extremely well-made film.
Can I be honest with you all?
And if you've ever been to Lexington, Kentucky and driven on Man of War, you've driven on its father.
What were you going to say, Chad?
Out of all three movies, it's actually, I don't know how it ever got past me. I have not seen Secretariat. I mean, I'm not sorry, Seabiscuit.
And by the way, today is the running of the oak trees or something. I don't know. It all gets confusing to me. I don't know. I'm born and raised in Kentucky. I don't know jack shit about horses. I don't really particularly care about horses. They're kind of pretty to look at from afar, but do either one of you have kind of oh my God, it's a horse?
No, I've never understood it.
I don't get it either. I also don't care for birds for some odd reason. I think they're weird and don't want them in my house.
Why do people want them as pets?
And I love to look at fish in other people's houses. That's another one.
No, so far I'm agreeing with you, which I don't, it makes me feel uncomfortable.
I love those coral big one, the fish tanks with the coral reefs and the saltwater tanks. Those are beautiful in other people's homes.
You know what's better than a saltwater tank?
What?
Saltwater taffy. You ever have any of that?
Some good stuff. Chad and I got some in Virginia Beach a couple of times.
By the way, Chad, I should have
boxes of it actually. It stayed in my hanging office for years.
I should have asked for clarification, Chad. When you said Seabiscuit, did you mean the more recent film or the Shirley Temple film?
I meant the more recent one. I did not know Shirley Temple made a movie called
1949. The story.
I don't think they're allowed to ride Shirley Temple. She played the horse.
I'm not going to touch that. There was also a 1939 documentary called Seabiscuit. So there you go.
Is it about Shirley Temple?
No, it's not about Shirley Temple. It could be. I haven't seen the 1939 documentary, but I'm going to go ahead and place even money that it's not about Shirley Temple.
All right.
By the way, I made the mistake. I said that Man o' War was Seabiscuit's father. That is erroneous. It was Seabiscuit's grandfather.
Yeah, I knew he was part of the lineage, but I don't keep up with any of that stuff. Either one of you all watched the Derby today?
No.
My wife did.
I didn't either.
She was visiting my mother-in-law. Not my mother, my mother-in-law. And yeah, she did and did well.
Yeah, I don't care to watch horses run around in a circle.
However, Keeneland and to go for a day at the horse races and watch them do that and bet is fun. I just happen to never do it.
And my entire thing, what would make it more fun?
Drinking.
No, less people.
Yeah, it's really crowded. It's really crowded.
The opening and closing title, if you go in the middle, it might be doable. But that first opening and that closing, it's just miserable.
Yeah, it's crowded. Yeah, it's true. All right. Oh, Hot to Trot. Did you have something to say about Hot to Trot?
No, let's just go, Bess.
No, I demand.
I really know.
I want to know about Hot to Trot and your opinion.
I don't have much to talk about it. It's just I really enjoyed it. And granted, Bobcat Goldthwait, he claimed it's not a claim. It did. It ruined his career for a while. He had to fight his way back up, and he did so spectacularly, in my opinion. Bobcat Goldthwait, in my opinion, is one of the most underappreciated filmmakers of our current time. And I would love to see him make more. It's just he is literally independent. He builds up enough money to make it the movie that he wants, and then does it. So we never know when we're going to get a new Bobcat Goldthwait film. But I as a kid, I loved Hot to Trot. I just loved Bobcat. I've always been a big Bobcat fan, even when he was this manic, crazy man. Now more so as a filmmaker than anything, which that's one of those spectacular transitions.
Well, they're not all winners, but they do have a distinct.
They're not all winners, but
he does have a distinct voice.
He does have a distinct voice.
Yeah. World's Greatest Dad is a good movie. What's the one with Joel Murray?
Oh,
where he kills everyone.
Something America. Damn it! If you hadn't said that,
that's a great movie.
Yeah,
that is absolutely hilarious.
Do you know? By the way, Chad, do you know the director of Hot to Trot, what he went on to do?
No, please tell me.
Michael Dinner,
God Bless America. I was going to say God Bless America.
God Bless America. Good movie.
Very good movie.
Michael Denner, before he made Hot to Trot, made Heaven Help Us and Offbeat, and then made Hot to Trot. And it seemed to slow down his career, but he went on to direct 19 episodes of The Wonder Years, 5 episodes of Chicago Hope, 3 episodes of Early Edition. Let me jump forward, though, because this is when it gets interesting to me. In 2008, he directed an episode of Sons of Anarchy. Then he went to Law and Order, to Justified, to Masters of Sex, to Sneaky Pete. And this year, he's directed 2 episodes of the Mayans MC, the Sons of Anarchy spinoff. So he's still out there directing. It just seems like it's a little bit darker material that he's directing. Yeah, which isn't a bad thing. I enjoy most of those series. I actually really like Sneaky Pete.
Yeah, and I mean, it had Bobcat, it had Dabney Goldman, it had John Candy doing it, had Burgess Meredith doing another voice, and it had Virginia Madsen.
The Horsefly, right?
What?
Who does the voice of the Horsefly?
Well, Burgess Meredith plays the dad who passes away, who then gets resurrected as a horsefly.
Okay.
Yeah.
The nuances were lost on me.
Yeah.
You know who was a script doctor on that, right? He's not credited, but you know who was a script doctor on that?
No, please enlighten me.
Andy Breckman. Now, Andy Breckman, you would know for writing such films as Sergeant Bilko and Rat Race.
I actually like Sergeant Bilko.
I do too.
Steve Martin.
I kind of like Rat Race.
Yeah. See, I did not care for that. The ending of Rat Race is ugh.
So anyway, I just wanted to point that out. That these people, you're right though. A lot of these people took a hit, but he was brought in as a script doctor to try to fix that, and it did not necessarily.
As Bobcat, as he admits in interviews, when anybody brings it up, that it put him in what he called comedy jail for years, and it was a long struggle just to get off the horror that Hot to Trot was. But as a kid, I love that movie. Now this is unlike K9, which I still enjoy. I watched Hot to Trot when I was an adult, and it was some parts of it were lost on me. But I did want to. We have not been able to talk about Hot to Trot yet, and I wanted to be able to do that. So I am done. James, what do you got?
You know, I was trying to think of a animal in a movie that stuck with me, and that it serves a huge part in the plot. And I have to give credit to Precious from Silence of the Lambs.
Oh my God, I thought you were going to talk about Precious, the movie.
Yeah,
like,
I was, what?
No.
There's no other than the pig feet she has to eat with the hair on it. I'm like, oh my God, James, what are you doing?
The dog in Silence of the Lambs, if I remember correctly, is called Precious. And that dog, I'll be honest, I was saying about this because if you watch the Clarice series, the dog pops up in a couple episodes because the dog ends up being taken by one of the victims. And because that's kind of their coping mechanism.
Is it a pug?
Isn't it a poodle?
I don't remember.
It's a fluffy dog. I'm not a dog expert but I don't think it's a poodle either. I think I'm wrong there. I've got friends that own that type of dog, and they're going to scream at me later for not remembering.
Is it a Phoebe GB, something like that? I actually have watched dog shows. Chad's like, I've never watched. I was like, I actually do. I don't do it all the time, but that's always go, oh my God, the cute puppies.
If they had Fred Willard actually commentating the dog shows, I would watch it. But none of that commentary actually happens in a dog show.
You're right. It's and I may be mispronouncing this, but it's a Bichon Frise.
Yeah, it's like I almost said a heebie-jeebie, but it's a Phoebe. Yeah, I can't say it, but that's what it. I actually knew what that was, and that's sad.
Which sounds like a fancy coffee.
The dog's name was indeed Precious, so I was right about that. I actually double-checked this. In the movie, the dog's actual name, by the way, was Darla, and I want to actually point this out. Darla had an entire film career, kicking off with a 1985 film. Would you like to guess what 1985 film this dog was in, Chad?
Don't guess, dude.
I no idea.
Pee-wee's
Runaway Train.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh.
Jumped from Pee-wee's Big Adventure to do what is one of the most underrated Tom Hanks films of all time. The Burbs.
Yeah. Oh, he's the little dog. Is he Arthur's dog? The shitting on the yard.
Yep.
And he and his dog go missing, or is it Arthur that goes missing? What of you all that knows the Burbs better than me?
Well, in 1991 did Silence of the Lambs, and that would be the last film before the dog took retirement. Darla retired in 1992 and died later that year. But
that's what happens when you retire. You don't have work to go to. You just fall dead.
Nothing to do with being a 17-year-old dog. Nope. It would have just kept working.
If he'd have kept working, if he'd have had another movie to shoot, if Joe Dante hadn't ruined his career,
if Peter O'Toole just would have kept working.
Yep.
Do you know how they actually trained the dog? And this is not true for just Silence of the Lambs.
They said he was going to die if he didn't do it.
No, the dog was obsessed with stealing socks. So when they needed the dog to run somewhere, they would put a sock on set, and the dog would run toward the sock, trying to get the sock. So it's a training method called stealing socks. You can look it up. I'm not making any of that up. That being said, it's not a pet movie, but that scene of her down in the well, looking up, and the dog looking down at her, I can't think of that movie without thinking of that dog. Which means that dog was very effective in that film for some reason in my warped little mind. So FYI, it is Precious, but the dog's actual name was Darla. And I want to add to that, as I'm talking about dogs, I'll do a two for kind of like Chad. I also want to say, to break a little bit from movies, I've got to give credit to Eddie in Frasier. Eddie is one of the most important characters in the Frasier sitcom. I don't care what anybody says. That show, I know they're bringing it back. Obviously, Eddie will not be part of it.
And neither will John.
Neither will his father. The man,
John Mahoney. Right?
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
they have both ceased to be.
Well, and actually, the original Eddie had to retire, and it was replaced by his own son. But the dog didn't die. The original Eddie did not pass away till the last thing. A couple pieces of trivia about this, and you can look me up, verify that I'm right if you so choose.
Eddie was an asshole, right?
John Mahoney hated that dog.
Sorry,
especially the original Eddie. And the original Eddie, they brought back on the last day of filming so he could take his bow, so to speak. And Eddie also hated his own son, the original Eddie, and I forget the dog's actual name. But he did actually hate his own son as well. They could not be. It was like having Joan Crawford who are the two famous dual.
Joan Crawford and Betty Davis.
Yeah. Okay, good. I was on the right track.
Yeah.
It was like having them on set, they said. You couldn't have them together, even though they obviously were connected by literal blood. It didn't matter. So I wanted to bring those up, though, because neither of those projects are about those animals, but they add something to those films.
Now, you're absolutely right, man. You really are. You're right. Frasier, there is a good joke about every other episode, a good Eddie joke. And not a decent, a good one. Like a good Eddie joke.
Well, and I've been
his fight with Frasier for what, 11 years?
Well, as I say, and I've been watching it as I've been rewatching. I put it on the background when I grade and stuff. And the end credit things, probably about a third of them are just Eddie staring. But they're, like you said, they're hilarious because that's the entire thing. The first episode, Frasier says, "I hate that dog. All it does is stare." Yep. And then I was watching something, I'm probably 6 seasons in, just having it play in the background now. And literally the episode ends with Niles sitting there trying to do something on the couch or something. And it's just Eddie staring.
Yeah.
But it's funny because it's Eddie. And that means that they have built more of a character for that dog than a lot of sitcom actors get.
Yeah. Agreed. Whose turn is it?
Yours.
What? All right. Well, I don't really, those were the ones I have. The only last one I'd like to talk about, and since I didn't know if we were doing animated, but one of you, it was James opened the box on that.
Yeah.
So there's a ton of Disney movies that are about animals, but
there is one that I'm surprised you didn't bring up, but go ahead.
Which one?
It's about a certain cat from outer space.
The cat from outer space?
Yeah.
No, that's just I know that's not a good movie. It's just I have fond memories of it. Childhood memories. And back to fond memories, my son really likes Ratatouille. And I enjoy Ratatouille. And it has a good message about learning who you are and working that dream till it happens. Even if you're a rat. That's really all I want to say about it. I think most people know the plot of Ratatouille, but Remy has a dream and he's more talented than the guy who he's controlling, Linguini, who's an idiot, who doesn't have a lot of talent. But
he can ride on some roller skates like some bitch.
Yeah, at the end of the movie, Chad's right. He's very good at serving on roller skates. I think that's the only thing in the whole movie that shows that he's any good at, though, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
It really is. That's the only thing that the whole
I'm serious.
Movie doesn't. I mean, I don't think he's an idiot. I said he's an idiot, but he's not talented at anything until the end of the movie, and it's riding on roller skates, serving people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He might be able to run a business. I mean, they seem to be pretty successful.
I guess let's face it, rats aren't really cooking your meal.
Yeah.
Maybe they are. I don't know. Go ahead.
If you've had Wendy's chili, you probably that's
well, you've eaten rat.
Yeah.
And fingers. Rat fingers.
By the way,
I had a peppercorn.
By the way, Wendy's, if you want to sponsor us, we're sorry we just blew that.
Yeah, that's true.
Sorry. Do you think there's
this is one more question?
Yeah, one more thing. What is it about classic Hanna-Barbera animation that made them so reliant on dogs? Because the Flintstones had Dino.
Yeah.
The Jetsons had Astro. And I know technically, Chad, before you start, I know Dino's technically not a dog. He's a dinosaur. That being said, you also have Scooby-Doo. You have Dino-Mutt. You have Foofer. I don't know. There's a ton of them. What is about dogs that just work with animation?
Hong Kong Phooey.
Well, yeah, but he's not a normal dog.
But he's the number one super guy.
He's more or less the I
don't think, and by the way, I don't think that revolves around them relying on dogs, other than them recycling the same thing over and over and over and over again. Hence why Scooby-Doo was Scooby-Doo, and then you had Jabberjaw, and then you had Captain Caveman and the team. What was his crime fighting band?
Oh, the kids. Yeah, no,
no, that's just Hanna-Barbera.
I don't even remember.
Just trying to make so many. The Teenage Angels. I'm sure I'm probably
that
wrong.
That sounds right. Teen Angels or something.
Something like that. But yeah, no, that was just Hanna-Barbera and going, how much more can we milk this for?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It seems like a easy way out to throw a dog in something and make it humanize people. Like even the Thin Man had their dog.
Right? Oh God, yeah, they did. I forgot the name of the dog though.
Oh, it's hold on, it'll come to me because it's Nick and Nora Charles, and the dog is Nick and Nora Charles.
It wasn't anything spectacular. It was a fairly normal dog name, and just like with God Bless America, I'm blanking.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to aggravate me now, but it'll come to me randomly.
There is one movie, James, that do you have another one you want to mention? Because I'm going to be after you mention yours, I'm going to jump in because I'll be surprised if you don't mention the one that was on my list.
If you say Comet from Full House, I'll punch you in the throat.
No,
is that an actual thing? I'm sure it is. I didn't watch Full House.
I will say this: I know the dog who played Comet.
The dog's name is Asta in The Thin Man.
Yeah.
Because the line is, Asta, you're not a terrier, you're a police dog.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thank you, James.
I don't know.
Watch The Thin Man. It's a good movie.
I will say this:
watch all of them.
I know Comet from Full House. The same dog was in a movie where Matthew Modine was a dad who dies, and he gets resurrected in a Labrador Retriever who is Comet from Full House, just painted brown.
Oh, is that like because it's one of the last times I'm allowed to mention a certain actor, but my daughter actually really loved, I don't know if she still likes it or not, but she watched it multiple times. My wife took her to see it in the theater. The Kevin Spacey to a cat movie, 9 Lives. I think it's
I never saw it. That's directed by Barry Sonnenfeld, right?
That was so you've actually seen it? Joe,
I've never seen it.
We have it on Blu-ray.
So
I've never seen it.
So if I'm not mistaken, that movie bombed terribly, and it pretty much ruined Barry Sonnenfeld's directing career. I mean, he still produces, but he hasn't directed a movie since that one.
Yeah, it
Was it that? Well, I don't think that one was the biggest bomb as it was. What's
and by the way, I need to pause here because
what's the one with Tim Allen?
Big Trouble.
Big Trouble.
Because it was all about a bomb on a plane, and it came out
That's
right
the
after
one.
9/11.
Yeah, I think the only movie he made after that was 9 Lives.
And by the way, Big Trouble, it's flawed, but it's entertaining.
So I watched it and didn't care for it, and he defends it to this day. And maybe I need to go back.
I enjoyed it, and it just, my opinion is, I don't think it would have been a huge success, but it just came out at the worst possible time. And why a studio would do that? Just put it on the shelf for a few years, assholes. But no, no, we're going to full steam ahead.
By the way, 9 Lives did okay. It cost $30 million to make, and it made 57.8 domestically.
But
it was, I want to say it was released internationally, and I need to say this for the benefit of our good friend Glenn. In Australia, if you're listening to us from Australia, you'll know this film by its proper title there of Mr. Fuzzypants. Mr. Fuzzypants.
I wonder if it did better in Australia with that title.
I don't know, but I love the cast on it. I mean,
Christopher Walken, cast is amazing.
Christopher Walken, Jennifer Gardner, it's basically, I mean, it's a redemption story, effectively, right? I mean,
no,
really
I haven't seen it. I was kind of curious if either one of y'all had, because it came up when we were thinking about it. I'm like, I'm gonna put this on the list, see if either one of y'all had watched it, because it did. I thought it pretty much put a stall to Barry Sonnenfeld's directorial career because of that.
I think it.
Well, I don't know. I think it probably hurt Kevin Spacey's career more. I don't hear him doing a lot of stuff now. Pause.
That's what did it. That's what did it.
It's about Spacey plays a workaholic who's ruined his first marriage. He and his son don't talk. They don't do anything. And you'll have to forgive me. I'm doing this off of half remembered. But basically, it's it ends up being that he dies, but he comes back as a cat, and he doesn't want to be a cat. His consciousness is trapped inside a cat's body while he's in a coma. He's not dead. He's in a coma. My bad. But anyway, yeah, it's just about him having to do certain things to do what he needs to do to become human again, or to do said things. Or I'll be honest, I haven't seen it, but my daughter used to watch it about once a week.
No worries. But by the way, to bounce off to your question about Comet, I did want to bring this up real quick. My childhood dog that I loved more than anything on TV was not Comet from Full House. It actually was Buck Bundy from Married with Children. I always loved Buck. He always had the great. And in my opinion, is with.
And you know what Buck was here to do, Chad?
Oh, I'm not going down that road. To pay his taxes.
That's right. Buck paid his taxes because he's a good American.
Yep.
Right.
Buck Bundy, in my opinion, always had the best sight gags in Married with Children. So, and there's also a great episode where they have a switch in the house, and they can't figure out what it's doing, and they end up tearing the house, and they still can't figure out what they're doing. And at the end of the episode, it turns out it's the light in Buck's doghouse, and he's going crazy because they keep turning it on and off.
By the way,
that's comedy.
I just realized Barry Sonnenfeld has a unique directing history.
He really does.
Addams Family Value, For Love or Money, Get Shorty, Men in Black, Wild Wild West, Big Trouble, Men in Black 2, RV, Men in Black 3, and 9 Lives.
Yeah, he actually started working in porn. We could do a whole episode of Barry Sonnenfeld.
I would love to talk about Barry. Yeah, but he did start out in porn.
And then
I just find his interest in what he produced and executive produced is fascinating too. But anyway,
yeah, it was a shame that the Tick Amazon show got canceled. It was actually heading somewhere really interesting, and they canceled it before it got there. But no, so I do want to do one quick mention. I won't go into it too much, but when we were talking about animal movies, this was the one I wanted to mention. The Voices with Ryan Reynolds. I thoroughly enjoy.
Yes, that one's fun.
Yeah, it's about a guy who has mental issues, and he talks to his pets, and they're all voiced by Ryan Reynolds, and they're telling him to do terrible things. It's worth watching if you haven't seen it. But I want to skip that because there is one I want to mention that I'm surprised James didn't mention off the top of the list. When we're talking about animal movies, pet movies, A Boy and His Dog.
Oh well, yeah, you're right. I should have mentioned that one. I mean, but my problem is I don't think the dog's the pet. I think the boy's the pet.
Yeah, either way it works. It's still an animal and pet movie, and it's worth mentioning. It's hard. It's the best.
It's an interesting movie. I don't think it's very good.
I love now, and if you're a fan,
do y'all know what I mean? It's an interesting movie. I don't know that it's the best film.
My problem with that movie was it was really great for me entertaining wise until they went into the subterranean area, and then it kind of just lost me.
Yeah.
There's an entire backstory, by the way, about the closing line and Harlan Ellison being mad at who directed that?
It doesn't matter.
L.Q. Jones. L.Q. Jones directed it, and he did the screenplay as well, and he put in a kind of a pun last line, and Harlan Ellison never let it go because he said it wasn't necessary. The movie was what it was. If you're a fan of it, I would say read the story, obviously. But there is a series. It's one of the only things that Harlan Ellison did a couple follow-ups to. There's The Boy and His Dog, Blood's a Rover, let's see, Blood's a Rover and Run Spot Run and Egg Sucker. Speaking of egg sucking, Egg Sucker is a follow-up story.
I'm serious. It's like the worst thing a dog could do was suck eggs, according to all those westerns I watched as a kid, or was made to watch as a child.
So there is, and there was actually L.Q. Jones wanted to do a sequel called A Girl and Her Dog. It never happened because the dog that played Blood, he wanted to use the same dog, died, and he didn't want to have to retrain another dog. Evidently, I don't know the full story there, but no, you're right, Chad. It is. I enjoy the movie for what it was. I think it's one of those things that I love. Harlan Ellison. It's on the shelf right over here. That being said,
I agree with that. Are you talking about the Stephen King quote? You didn't ruin my book. It's right over there on the shelf. Yeah.
Well, that and it's one of those things that I love Harlan Ellison. I know we're getting what is it? It's not Love and Robots. What's the name of the show on Netflix?
Oh man.
I want to say Sex, Lies, and Robots, but that's not it either.
No, it's keep talking.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Love, Death, and Robots.
There you go. We're getting finally another Harlan Ellison adaptation. They're doing Life Hutch, which is one of my favorite stories. So we'll see if they mess it up, and I have to get angry.
And in my opinion, Love, Death, and Robots has done that first season is amazing. I don't see how they can mess it up.
I hope they don't mess up Life Hutch, because Life Hutch is a story about absolute fear. Like, if it's done correctly, you should actually spend 12 minutes on the edge of your seat, just assuming everybody's dead. I love Life Hutch. That being said, I say that to say there's been about 4 or 5 adaptations of Harlan Ellison, and amongst all of them, 2 are good. The problem is they're not one product. If you smush them all together, there was the adaptation done for Masters of Science Fiction,
which is directed by Two Takes Jonathan Frakes.
Yeah, I love I love that. It's just so hard to adapt and capture everything that Harlan Ellison does. And I think that's what A Boy and His Dog suffers from as well. It's just, there's so much going on in that story, and the story itself is really short. It's not a novel. Yeah. Anyway, so there's just too much going on. And it's really hard. It's kind of like trying to adapt Repent Harlequin or something. It's hard.
All right, guys, we wrapping up.
I mean, the Jelly Bean tie-in could be phenomenal.
Shh, cat.
Oh, hey, it's appropriate. See, the cat's here at the end of our pet episode.
Oh, yeah.
That's
down
marketing.
Here. That means my son is still awake because she doesn't want anything to do with him. Yeah. Anybody else got any more animal movies? Are we good?
I mean, there's tons of. My problem, actually, and this is what I had the issue approaching this episode, is that there are so many movies with animals, but there's not any movie that I think defines everything that we could talk about. So I don't have any more, because I think we could do another episode where we talk about angry animals and talk about how, why do I root for the animal in Lake Placid?
And why do I
told me to?
And why do I like Man's Best Friend over Cujo?
Do you really?
True.
I was about to say.
No.
I liked Man's Best Friend. I enjoyed it when it came out. I don't remember. It's got Lance Henriksen in it. But yeah. Or we could do Nature Amok films for 2 episodes of those.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me pretend to be James. Joe, ask me which one I prefer, Man's Best Friend or Cujo.
Which one do you prefer? Cujo? Or I want to say something else smart, but I can't think of anything. Man's Best Friend.
I prefer The English Patient.
Well, of course.
No, the answer is The Dogs from the Pack, you idiot. I'll also accept Devil Dog, The Hound of Hell. Either of those films work.
In all fairness, his answer still would have been Bingo.
Bingo was his name-o.
I mean, Bingo does have some terror parts in it.
Yeah. Mainly the plot. All right. Well, this has been Bonehead Weekly. If you disagree with us,
how about The Breed?
We would love to hear you.
We didn't even talk about White Dog.
Pet Cemetery 2?
We talked about White Dog a few weeks ago.
I know. No, we talked about it off camera, if I remember right.
Yeah. Well, if you don't know anything, we could do a whole episode on Sam Fuller, who is a fascinating filmmaker and a man on his own right.
How about Chopper from Stand By Me? He's pretty intimidating.
This has been Bonehead Weekly.